Today, I get to show off plenishing hammer. It's a homemade one my pal made for me 30 years ago or so. I don't use it too much. I use that working on a panel. Like, you'll see what this is for. But anyhow, we do that, and the inner baffle on this, finally had to cut it out, get it straightened out, and then clean up the shop because Thanksgiving is coming. So, should be some different things you haven't seen before. Plenishing hammer's pretty cool. Some shrinking and some inner work. Hey, the underside is welded and ground on Nomad. So now I can get back to this quarter. If we remember it was pretty rough. I'll shine a light on it. So this, you can see all the hammer marks, grinder marks. It's, you know, it's not bad. It was hit pretty hard. But when I get on the inside, I can see all the dots, all those dark spots. They did a ton of shrinks on this. So it must have been seriously body mangled. So we're going to, well, you know, when they were doing it, it was probably a 20-year-old car, worth about $500. So they didn't get too carried away. They did a reasonable job. But we have to do a bit better. Also, this is the inner. In 567 Chevys, they have a rubber seal. The inner comes right out to the quarter, and there's a rubber gasket. So, when this had been hit so hard, the back part had been quite body mangled, as you can see. Pretty hard. I mean, it's really messed up. So, for two reasons, I cut it right out. This allows me great access. I'm never worried about cutting an inner panel to get it out of the way so I can fix an outer and put the inner back in. But also, it's probably going to save me an hour, if not more, of straightening this panel because I can take it over to the anvil now. So, we're going to straighten that inner. You're going to see how it fits. And then I'm probably going to need, well, first I'm going to hammer this. I'm going to hammer and dolly this whole quarter to try to get it smoother. The thing is, when you dent something in, you stretch it. Shortest distance between A and B is a straight line. You put a big dent, it's all been stretched. So we're going to hammer it flat and try to make it smooth so there's no up and down. And then it's going to be slightly pregnant. That's the only time you can use that saying correctly. So it'll be slightly pregnant, and then we'll do some shrinks on it and tighten it up. So for now, I'm going to wander over to the anvil with the inner, and I'm going to hammer that straight, I hope. There's Honey the Wonder Dog. Oh yeah, must be supper time for Honey. Got the rear end unbolted on the Firebird. close. Come a long way. Here's some fun stuff. The bottom side of this is all rust taken care of and welded up. Now, we were talking about this quarter panel before. It was pretty rough. It's been repaired. I have this plenishing hammer. It's a portable one. There's some fellas, Chris, Japan's Customs. He has some beautiful ones he sells. This is one a buddy of mine made years ago. I let him use my paint booth, and Clint saw what I was up to, and he said, hey, I can make you that plenishing hammer you're talking about. So it's a bit awkward, but we have a dolly on the inside. So this is flat, this is pretty flat. I have different crown dollies. Some are high crown, this is low crown. So I put it over top of the quarter. Instead of having an adjustable bolt or handle, this one just has the primer. And it works pretty good. But I used to have a different air chisel on it. And today I had to put a different one. It's a slightly different length. So I'm going to have to use a vice grip to hold this in place. And then we're going to see some pretty cool stuff. I'm going to work over top, back and forth over the panel. All these highs and lows. And this is something like an English wheel. But it's going to get rid of all the highs and lows and smooth it out. It's going to end up being proud. So then I'm going to have to do some shrinks when Lou gets back and runs torch for me. Now I've done some measuring. This quarter's got to come way out to be the same at the other side. Need some repairs on the bottom. Basically it's pretty good. So I'm going to get a vice grip, clamp up the back end, plug in the air. It's got a foot pedal to operate the air. And it's going to be incredibly loud, but it's going to be cool. Yeah, came out way better. Now I'm going to do a bit with the hammer and dolly. So you can see the difference. And the pain. Body hammer being somewhere else, naturally. Low crown dolly. I may, if I was going to be dollying this, I'd probably put a piece of 1" on here, clamp it to the car so it quits bouncing around quite so much. This needs a lot of hammering. Lyle knows how this works out, so he's brought me tail lights to fit once I start to think I'm close. But that's a lot of work, and I'm going to do a bunch more with the plenishing hammer. I mean, you can tell by the marks on here. I'll give you a closer look. You can see it's getting smooth. You see all these marks here? That's where it's a little bit high and I just touched them. As it gets flatter and flatter, these marks become steadier because they're all on the same plane, the same level. So you can't tell by seeing the panel from here, but I'm going to work back and forth. And yeah, like stuff up here, we're going to see how this does. And I can change to a higher crown dolly. I can do the inner, I might do that by hand. But you get the idea. Stuff like this, I'll probably just do by hand. It's spot welded to an inside layer. So that's going to take some good hammering. This is all brass. I'm going to cut this out and put in a new piece. Down here, slightly body mangled, repaired. I may make a piece and a piece. We'll see how that goes. For now, I've been thinking about this particular panel for a long time. So I'm going to swing the car down a little bit so it's easier to get at. And I'm going to do a bunch more. See how it's doing. Yeah, it's pretty smooth. I'm going to bump a couple of spots. That because it does stretch it. We're going to try hammer and see how we're doing. Yeah, I'm replacing that lip. It's too body mangled. That's coming much better. I'm gonna have to go up a little higher. And cutting that inner out makes all the difference in the world. And you gotta see, if we stretch this out, this quarter panel is supposed to be out. Oh, okay. So all this stretching has brought that out 3/4 of an inch. So that's really good. This hasn't taken long. I'm going to try to concentrate on this area. I may have to stop and get the grinder. There's some spatter on the inside. I think I'll do that first. They're getting better light. And I can show you what I'm doing. So on the inside, there's some grinding. I'm doing the grinding here to get rid of some tabs they welded on a little bit here. But you can see the marks from the inside. And this is coming quite good. And way quicker than I expected. Definitely going to be some shrinking to do. And this is the panel I cut out and I hammered on the anvil. And it'll fit in there. Eventually. So a little more grinding. That's actually not bad. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in, hammer and dolly. I'm going to bring up my lows, take down my highs, then see where my measurement is. I think I'll replace this bottom lip in here. And then we'll get some help and we'll start shrinking that back down where it belongs because I've stretched the heck out of it. This is pretty brutal, rustic, hillbilly, whatever you want to call it. It freaking works. So I may have to go to Chris and buy one of his beautiful ones. They cost a few bucks, but they're worth it. You don't always have a need for these, but when you do, they can save you hours and hours. You're going over a rollover roof, you pound it back up. This is the tool. You can keep reaching in with a lighter one. This one's brutal to use, but it works. And that's all it's doing, right? So, anyhow, I'm happy with that. And then plug the air line. Okay. That's the hard part of it. Not bad. Well, I don't know if you can see the difference. I mean, you can see it's out. I'm just gonna see, my measurement was supposed to be 15 and a quarter. You can't see this. So, right there. We're that close. So it's pulled it in over 3/4 of an inch. And that means, and I guess you can't see this. Yeah, that made all the difference in the world. Now this piece fits. So I've got to add, this is supposed to have a piece about this long and this wide. And that goes underneath this lip and spot welds on. In the damage, it had been broken off and sort of gobbed together, so I cut it off. So, going to replace the edge on this. I'm going to replace the lip on here. Going to replace this too. I don't like that. Going to put in a whole new piece to get past those cracks. I mean, that didn't take long. There's still a little, like I say, to hammer, but that went pretty good. All right. Good day. Back on the 55. So I've been working on this quarter panel. You can see a multitude of shrinks after I stretched it with the plenishing hammer. So I just have to hammer that out now. You can see it's way closer. It's not as pregnant as it was. Proud. We're going to relocate the battery box back here. So we have an interior baffle rear of the fender well, I guess. We have to pay attention to that, so I'm going to start by just cutting a hole and seeing how much room I have. This is also going to make it really easy to hammer out the outside of the quarter, so I'm kind of happy about that. We are putting on some different fancy hinges for the gate. Have to do some fabrication there. This is some factory stuff, a seam. I'm debating whether to just change that right out, make a new piece and get rid of the seam. Kind of leaning towards that. There's a factory lead along here. Makes welding incredibly difficult, but I can hammer this top part once I cut out that inner. So that's why I'm stopping the outer, and we're going to spend a bit of time getting ready for the battery box so we can do a better job of the quarter. So I'll make a hole in the lid. So I'm just going to do some exploratory research. I don't think I'll go right to the floor because this is going to be all upholstered and looking really good. So I'm going to end it above the floor, which, yeah, we're losing some room there, but that's what I want to do. Okay. Ideally, I'd like to have the battery have a door, it's open, and the battery swings out. But we have quite an angle here on the back, so I don't know if that's going to work out. We're going to find out. Alright. Okay. See the inner panel shrinks. So it's basically smooth. Anyhow. So, how big's the battery? It'd be nice to have 12 inches distance. Where it goes is this baffle. And that's so I can go forward some more, and I need all the distance forward I can get. Okay, so our inner fender line, right there. So, I'm probably going to have to go lower. That's only 7 inches. Battery's gonna, well, they vary. Side post battery is gonna be lower than the top post battery. This way, you have tons of room. I can almost put the battery lengthways and have it slide out. Thing is, when you go to set a battery in here, this is all upholstered, nice rug, everything. It's going to be tough to reach in and lift up a battery and bring it out. So I was hoping you could put it on slides or a pivot. So it brings out and then Lyle can just grab it. I haven't fully engineered this yet, but I wanted to see exactly how much room I had. So now I'm presently just a little bit tempted. And boy, I could almost go lengthways, but that's cutting it fine. Because this way, I don't have a lot of room either. And right there, about 8 inches to that corner. I really got to think about this. Okay, I'm going to do some Kodak engineering. 55 Nomad. So I've been doing a lot of shrinking on this panel. And I have to do a little more. You can see the signs of 1,000 hammer marks. I have to plenish this out, flatten it out. But I have just a couple more spots that are slightly high. I'm going to do a couple more shrinks, and then I can start slapping it to make it even. There was a couple of welds here that someone had probably welded. I don't know. Anyhow, I've got to weld those holes up they made. So, I'll go to the back. You can see that it looks pretty good. It's come a long way. I've probably done 60 shrinks on it. So I'm going to do a few more. I'm going to mark them. And of course, once you do a couple, you may find that that's enough. You can see. Yeah, you do a couple welds here, and you do weld that, and that, and that. Yeah. Okay, so shrinks. Very close. All right. Cool. I wonder if I should make a new piece. It's getting pretty thin. Gotta decide.
Good morning.
Good morning. What a fine day it is. Just soaking up the cleanliness, believe it or not. Whoops. Stuff all over the place. Happy Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving. So the place is clean. Of course, I just made everything stuffed over here. This is under the rug, basically. So today, back on the 55 Nomad. The Model A. The Model A is coming nicely. I wasn't gonna get too carried away with it, but I am gonna make some panels, finish off the bottom, in the back. I mean, heck, guys should just build a car. Could just box that frame, replace the front end of it. Model A's are easy, they're simple. I think everybody should have one. It's a good way to start, to learn. So, I'm just trying to fix up the sun visor. Anyhow, yeah, it's a holiday, so maybe I'm a bit late getting started, but that's all right. Anyhow, off we go.